Open an AI with reasoning enabled, ask it something complicated, and a long stream of thinking appears on screen before the answer does. Let me think about this. That assumption seems off. Let me try a different angle. Watching those lines appear one after another, it's easy to fall into an illusion that it's genuinely hesitating, genuinely working something out, genuinely going through something like a moment of understanding. It might even reverse its own answer from a second ago, as if it just had a sudden realization. The experience is convincing enough that you find yourself asking, does this count as real thinking? To answer that, you first have to figure out how human thinking actually works. The Greek philosopher Plato had an idea about this a long time ago. What actually drives thought is something he called eros, not romantic love in the narrow sense, but a hunger to know, an urge to get closer to the truth, a restlessness that won't let you rest until you've figured something out. It's this hunger that keeps thought from moving in a straight line toward its answer. Instead, it wanders, deviates, makes unexpected connections. A dance that can't be choreographed in advance. Someone reads a page and suddenly connects that sentence to some unrelated experience from years ago. And that groundless, oh, that's what it was, is exactly this hunger doing its work. That kind of realization can't be scheduled or demanded. It simply arrives on its own. Computation doesn't move this way at its root. It's linear, one step after another, driven by probability and search. Among thousands of possible paths, it judges which one is more likely to score well, then proceeds down it. Today's reasoning models look like they doubt themselves, reverse earlier assumptions, go through something like struggle followed by insight. But underneath, the same mechanism is running the whole time, calculating which path pays off, not a hunger to know the truth. It can use extraordinarily complex computation to convincingly simulate every step of thinking, simulate what hesitation looks like, simulate what figuring it out looks like. But once it reaches the end of that path, nothing extra has been gained. No flicker of excitement, no sense of relief, because from beginning to end what pushed it forward was never a desire to know the answer. It was a target function set in advance. There's an example that easily shakes people's confidence in this distinction. The story of AlphaFold, solving protein folding. This problem stumped the entire field of biology for decades. Given the amino acid sequence of a protein, what three-dimensional shape will it eventually fold into? The space of possibilities is nearly inexhaustible. AlphaFold solved it, using massive data and computing power to approach the lowest energy, most stable structural solution within that enormous space of possibilities. It really was a remarkable breakthrough, but while solving the structure, it had no idea what that structure meant for a patient suffering from Alzheimer's. It felt no flicker of compassion from knowing how fragile life is, no sense of relief from knowing a disease might be cured. What it produced was the structure of the world, an answer that can be computed, enumerated, understanding what something means to a person, whether it's worth feeling joy or grief over. That's an entirely different capacity. AlphaFold never had it, and never needed to. So, back to the original question, is AI actually thinking? The answer might be. It genuinely calculates what thinking looks like, but it doesn't undergo thinking. It can hand you an answer identical to what a human would reach after deep deliberation, even faster, even more precise. But what supports that answer isn't a hunger that won't let go until it understands. It's a mechanism precise enough that it never needed to want anything in the first place. The difference is hard to notice most of the time, because the results look the same. But if a day comes when you too get used to outsourcing your own judgment, your own moments of realization entirely to a system that only calculates and never desires, then what should actually worry you isn't whether AI will one day learn to truly think. It's whether we ourselves will slowly forget what it actually feels like to think in that other way, the way driven by hunger, full of detours, genuinely alive.